Alrighty, you are looking at that sold out MetLife Stadium where today the 16-0 and playoff bound New York Giants will be taking on the 0-16 Washington Commanders. And why are the Washington Commanders 0-16? Because they suck. Welcome to the Gridiron. Anybody out there at all is going to spend a little bit of time with me here this evening, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching a replay this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you. I'm going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight. Oh, what's up, Jersey guys? What's going on? Anybody going to join me tonight? I greatly appreciate it. I'm going to try to go about 30 minutes. I just shoot my mouth off for about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say, please feel free. Fire away. Throw it in the chat box like the Jersey guys. All right. I'm going to try to ramble on and on, but hey, it's nice to talk to somebody else and talk to another Giant fan. It's just, instead of me just rambling on for a long time. I usually try to check on the chat box like every 5 or 10 minutes. So if something gets popped in there, I try to check it out. As soon as I see it, I try to respond to it as fast as I can. Before I get started, if anybody wants to help support my channel out, it would mean the absolute world to me. In the description box below, the top link, it takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. The top one's called, the first membership level I got is called the Saquon. Second membership level I got is called the Lawrence Taylor. And the third membership level I got is called the Gridiron. Each one has their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. And I thank you in advance. Thank you. If you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. I greatly appreciate it. If not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon. That way, next time I go live or put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. I greatly appreciate it. I can use all the support I can get. And then finally, in the description box below, there's 2 Facebook links. The top Facebook link takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's a group. Basically, I say this in all my videos, my YouTube channel, my Facebook group, and my Facebook page, which I'm going to go over in a minute. It's all called the same thing. It's all called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It dumbs it down for me, for a moron like me. That way I can remember. I know it's like, what's my page called? What's the group called? What is my YouTube channel called? It's all called the same thing for me. It makes it nice and easy for me. So what do we got? We have holding tight over 3,900 members in the group. Any day now, we should hit the 4,000 member mark of the group. In the off season, it's things are a little bit slower, but usually it picks up really nice once the season starts. And what is it? Today's the 7th, soon to be the 8th. So my spider sense is right. Was that the 8th? 17 days. I think that's when the rookies show up for training camp, I think. Whew, about 2.5 weeks. Woo! Man, and then we're off and running, guys. But I try to, in the group, I try to do is like, once I get done going live, I'll spend the next, couple hours or so just putting stuff in the group and in the page, which I said I'll go over in a minute. I try to get up to like 10 different things in the group every day if I can, whether it's I'm sharing an article, just putting a picture, a post, just showing some stats on a ball player, sharing a video, whatever, something making fun of the Eagles or the Cowboys, which are my personal favorites, right? I try to get up to 10 different things in there every day. And if you become a member of the group, not only do I post stuff, but members post stuff in the group as well, too. So there's a ton of New York Giants information going in there every day. And then the second Facebook link takes you to my Facebook page. I'm the administrator in the page, so I'm the only one that posts anything in there. But what do we got? We're over 1,900 people who like it, and we're over 6,500 followers in the page. It's New York Giants, the Gridiron, but it's a page. It's the same thing. I'll spend the next, after I get done going live, I'll spend like the next 2 hours or so just posting stuff in the group and in the page. As I said, the same thing. Whether it's a video, I'm sharing an article, something, just showing some stats on a ball player, picture, anything, something, once again, something making fun of the Eagles or the Cowboys. I try to get up to 10 things in the page as well, too, every day. And I don't commingle them. So basically, the stuff that I put in the page, I don't put in the group. Whatever I put in the group, I don't put in the page. I said, listen, every now and then, if I see something that makes fun of the Eagles, I just got to share it with everybody. So I might put that in the page and in the group. But other than that, I try to keep stuff separate, right? So if you go to the page and you like it, you follow it, and you go to the group and you become a member, every day, 7 days a week, you get a ton of New York Giants information. And then, like I say all the time, if you go to the page and you like it and you follow it, and you go to the group and you become a member, if you're not 100% satisfied, you get your money back guaranteed. All right, all that stuff said and done and out of the way with. All right. Well, talk football. It's always good. You got that right, brother. That's what we do here, talking football. I said, yeah, we got like 2.5 weeks to go. And I think it's the rookies come in. I think a day or two later, that's when the vets come in, and then guys, we are off and freaking running. It's unbelievable. It's really hard to believe. And that's why I said it's my favorite two. For me, I'm an old time fart, so I love the holidays. You know what I mean? I like that. Because once you start getting to my age, you really start. Hopefully, you start appreciating things. One is life. Right, you wake up in the morning, you open your eyes, you look around, you're still alive. It's a good day. You start appreciating your friends, your family, and all that stuff. So the holidays, Thanksgiving, being around with friends and family, the Christmas, being alive with my wife and my kids and all that stuff, the New Year, and all. So I love that. But my other favorite one is July 4th. It's because it's like about 3 weeks away before the beginning of training camp. It's like I celebrate Christmas. Not everybody does. Some people, maybe Hanukkah. Some people don't celebrate Christmas. Some people do. But for me, it's like the beginning of December. It's like when you're a kid. For me, celebrating Christmas, it's like you're waiting for Christmas to come. It's almost here. It's the anticipation. It just kills you. That's the same thing with like July 4th, because it's a nice holiday. Kind of summer's just started and all of that, but it's just a couple weeks away before the beginning of training camp, and then it's off and running. And I don't know if it's just me. It's like as you get older and you become more and older of a fart like me, just time just freaking flies on by. So it's like, and I notice it's like once the first game happens, then it's like, then you turn around, it's like week 5 already. It's like, wow, what's going on? And then you blink your eyes a couple more times and the season's halfway over. It's like, what the hell happened? It's just we were just in preseason. Why is the season half out? And then it seems like before you know it, there's like 3 weeks left in the season. You're like, what the heck's going on? It's crazy how fast. Yeah, right. Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it's 7 days between each game. Well, I think some of it maybe because when I was a kid, there was just Sunday. Actually, when I first started watching, it was 1970. It was the first season of Monday Night Football. So, and I wasn't allowed to stay up to watch Monday Night Football. I think my parents thought I would turn into a demon or something like that if I stayed up past 9 o'clock at night to watch football. And there was no Sunday night game. So it was just Sunday afternoon games. So I had to wait the whole week, 7 days to see another football game. So that's, I watch college football on Saturdays too, but I mean, it was just like the whole week, waiting the whole week. I mean, now you got Thursday night, and then of course, it depends how much you love college football. There's football on Friday night, all day. There's 3,000 games of college you can watch on Saturday, and then you got Sunday, 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, then you got the Sunday night game, then you got the Monday. So it seems like there's always every day there's another day there's another game. I think so. Maybe that might have had something to do with it. Being a kid. Once Sunday's over with at 4, there was at 4 o'clock. So by about 7 o'clock on Sunday, football's over with. And you had to wait all the way to the next weekend to see another football game. So that might have had something to do with it. I mean, nowadays it's like every day there's football on. So it's like boom, boom, Oh, yeah. Notre Dame. That was it. Notre Dame's, that's my team. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll ever see them win another championship, but that's my team. See, growing up in the 70s, Notre Dame was winning championships, 1973, 1977, was it 88 or whatever it was? The last one was, 300 years ago? That's the last one they'll probably ever want to winning. But, they won in 66, they won in 73, they won in 77. So when I was a kid growing up, I'm like, yeah, every few years, Notre Dame just win another championship. That's cool. Yeah, okay, so that's the way it is. Yeah, not no more. So, but, nothing like Notre Dame. I'll watch them. I'll always watch them, until obviously the day I die and all. It's just a shame. That's why I can't stand Alabama. Notre Dame's good. It's just that when they go up against the real big boys, like in a lot of those bowl games, they wind up getting smoked. But it is what it is. But at least I did get a chance to see Notre Dame wins a couple championships back in the 70s. And it was the 88 one, I think it was the last one that they won, which unfortunately, I don't know. It seems like the way things are going nowadays, it might be the last one, but it is what it is. So, once again, that'll be about a month. I don't know when their first game is. And I forgot who they're playing early on their first game, but that'll be about a month from now. So I got that to look forward to as well, too. Good old Notre Dame football. Gotta love it on Saturday. All right. What the heck? All right. I seen this article here from fan side of G-Man HQ. It's got 3 reasons why the Giants will win the NFC East and 2 why they won't. Yeah, I'm not so about the reasons why they will, but I saw the article and it was like, oh, okay. It says, with the calendar officially turning into July, the countdown to training camp kicking off on the New York Giants, while the countdown still lingers on the Giants to get a potential long-term deal done with Saquon, which is the 17th. So we have 9 days, about 9 days and counting. So something will get done. I feel that something will certainly get done. Deadlines make things happen. This is the first time since the end of the 2016 season where the Giants are coming off of a playoff season, and the anticipation for the 2023 campaign is at its highest. Yeah, I'll tell you what, after the 2016, campaign, going into the 2017, things, hey man, we got a good defense, right? And then we added Evan Ingram in the the first round of the 2017 draft, so we added a little bit to the offense. That's certainly going to help Eli Manning have a nice, a good tight end there, right? Who's a mismatch, right? So that'll certainly help. We had Shepard, right? We got Odell Beckham Jr., you got Eli Manning. Now you got a good tight end to throw the ball to go with our good defense, right? Man, 2017, here we go, baby. We got the Super Bowl. Yeah. Like they say in The Water Boy, Mama's wrong again, isn't she? Huh? Yeah, how wrong we could be. Man, what a disappointment that season was. Oh, my God. Said no longer are the Giants winning just 4 or 5 games each season and stuck in the 22 to 59 demise that they went through from 2017 to 2021. Wow. 5 seasons, they were 22 and 59. Holy cow. The medium Pepsi days, as some called it, are long gone. The Giants are back to serious football. After the 2022 season, the Giants have given the fan base a reason to believe in again. In this piece, we're taking a look at 3 reasons the G-Men can win the NFC East. However, we're also looking at 2 things that will stop them. Number 1, and it's this, history repeats itself. Why they will. Teams don't repeat as champions. Somebody sooner or later is going to do it. And, if anybody does, the Eagles have a very good chance at doing it this year. It's snapping the streak. If you look at the history of the NFC East division, there hasn't been a repeat champion since the 2003-2004 season by the Philadelphia Eagles. So we're going back 20 years since there's been a repeat champion. So this is something that we must take into consideration leading into week 1. Now, obviously, one thing is, the Eagles still going to have a fantastic overall team. But once again, things have to bounce their way. They have to stay healthy, which is what they did last year. Now, if you have a fantastically built team that stays healthy, it's tough to derail something like that. The coaching staff didn't screw things up. They had a good, solid coaching staff, but they do have new coordinators coming in. They did lose some guys. I'm not going to say they're better than they were last year. I'm not going to say that. But once again, they have to stay healthy. And if you look at certain positions on the team, right? If they start getting some chinks in the armor there, if they start getting some injuries, you start getting injuries, DeVonta Smith and A.J. Brown, there's the cupboard's a little bare behind them, right? Dallas Goedert, I'm not too thrilled with the depth, the tight end behind him. Some of the offensive linemen, especially with Lane Johnson and Kelsey, they're starting to get up there at age. If one of those guys, they start getting injured, some of the guys like between maybe Slay and Bradberry, if one of those guys gets lost or so, which could quite possibly happen, it's not, they're not in a lot of positions. They're not chock full of super duper talent. Maybe the defensive front might be great. Their edge rushers might be okay, but some of the positions, they're a little thin. So if they start getting, let's not forget last year, if you go to mangameslost.com or man's game, man's game, one of those. I'm too stupid to remember. mangameslost.com, I think it is. I got a subscription to them. Last year, they were the fourth least injured team, but as far as missing games due to injuries, which certainly helps. The Giants were the sixth most injured team, which, certainly hurt the Giants' chances. But, you look at it, the Eagles have a fantastic shot at repeating, but things have to fall their way. It just, that's why you play the games. Let's not forget about the Cowboys. Cowboys have a good chance, right? If things fall the Giants' way, who knows? Maybe, maybe they can. We'll have to wait and see. Let's see here. So let's see if you got in each of the last three seasons, the other three teams have been the division winners. The Commanders, right? The Washington Commanders won in 2020. Dallas Cowboys won in 2021, and then the Eagles won in 2022. So why not the Giants 2023, right? The fan base down in Texas might think that they have a case to win the division, but then again, winning the division is the only thing that Cowboys and their supporters have had to celebrate since their last Super Bowl win back in after the 1995 season. So the Eagles on paper look good enough to win the division, but again, teams haven't repeated as the division winner for 20 years. The Giants have just as good of a shot to win as any of the other teams, so don't write them off here. Now, why they won't? The Eagles are still the team to beat. Good point. Man, I love Ric Flair. They said, Ric Flair once said, to be the man, you have to beat the man. Absolutely. If you want to be the best, you have to beat the best. And that includes the Philadelphia Eagles, right? Right now, the Eagles are the man in the NFC East. They are the reigning NFC East champions as well as the NFC champions heading into the 2023 season. While they did lose some players to free agency, they also drafted very well and are expected to return a lot of the team we saw make it to the Super Bowl last season. Very, very true. The Eagles not only went 14-3 for the regular season, but they also went 4-2 in the division and were 2-0 in the regular season against the Giants. Well, then include the playoff, right? So they were 3-0 against the Giants. And they got a little video here. It says Jalen Hurts had the best quarterback rating in football this year versus cover one, meaning one high safety. In part because he killed teams with go balls to A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith. The Giants played a lot of cover one, and then it said in week 14 and got punished for it. Oh, yeah, they got annihilated. It was horrible. So, obviously that's something that the Winkmeister, knows. But then again, now this year, hopefully we'll have Adoree Jackson and Deonte Banks out there covering these guys. So hopefully that'll change things up. So I said, that's so true. To be the best, you got to beat the best. What's up, Terrence? We're going to compete. Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Well, I mean, what it said there. I mean, the Commanders or the Washington football team as they were. I mean, remember that was the year that Peterson pulled Hurts right in the final game of the season against the Washington football team, and not that the Eagles would have won. I think they were losing too when they pulled Hurts and put their backup or third string quarterback in. I can't remember who it was. But of course, it wanted to cost Peterson his job, it seemed like it. But I think the Eagles were losing there, but obviously having Hurts in there was their best chance at winning that game. So, but I mean, that was the, they were 7-9. The Giants, if the Eagles won that game, the Giants would have won the division at 6-10. I mean, so. Which would have actually given the Giants a much worse draft pick. So the Giants weren't going to the Super Bowl that year. So I said, would have gave them a much worse draft pick than what they wound up having. So in the long run, it was what was best for the Giants. I mean, whether you want to admit to it or not, I mean, it was kind of a gut punch, and it just ticked you off because it was like the Eagles and Peterson and all that kind of pulling one out from underneath the Giants' legs there, but. It is what it is. But I mean, in the long run, it was what was best for the Giants. Let's see. All right, so now, let's see. Another reason why the Giants will win, because it says they are drastically improved. And I do believe, without question. I definitely think the Giants, without question, have gotten better. I said maybe the Cowboys are still good. I don't think they've gotten better. The Eagles, of course, are still good. I don't think they got better. I do think the Giants got better, though, right? And if you also look, if you look at the Commanders, all right, if they can somehow, if they ever get their quarterback situation figured out, don't lay down on the Commanders either. So they got to get their quarterback situation figured out, but if they can. Or if they can somehow, if they don't get it figured out this year, if somehow they bring in or somebody really good, maybe in free agency or whatever, keep an eye out on them. But I do definitely think the Giants certainly got better this year. I'm not so sure I can say that about the Cowboys or the Eagles. But, we do see where the Eagles were and how much, what a difference in talent there was between last year, between the Giants and the Eagles. So the Giants have a long way to go to catch the Eagles. So the Giants made $160 million investment in 2023 season, thinking they will take the next steps as far as their play goes. That was the deal the Giants gave to Daniel Jones after his 2022 season, where he led the Giants to the playoffs and a playoff win. In order to double down on that $160 million investment in Jones, the Giants needed to give him additional reinforcements to make sure the team, especially the offense, trends upward. They traded for Waller, drafted Hyatt, signed Paris Campbell, Jamison Crowder. We got Hodgins. We brought Slayton back. Wandell's coming back from his injury. We brought Shepard back, right? We got Jeff Smith. Have to see if he makes the team or not. Bryce Ford Wheaton. I have to wait and see if he makes the team, though, too. But if we can get him, if he wants to become a project, right, for the Giants, if we can get him on practice squad, keep him, maybe develop him, maybe next season or so, we might have ourselves a little diamond in the rough there. Because you think about between Bryce Ford Wheaton and Hyatt, we got like two rocket ships right there. Let's see. And obviously, they're still working on getting Saquon Barkley back under contract for long term, hopefully for at least three more seasons. That would be fantastic. On top of that, the Giants, let's not forget about we brought Breida back. We got Eric Gray, right? We got Schmitz. Neal will be a little bit, hopefully should be better this year. We got Thomas there, right? So hopefully McKeithen and Azuda will be back healthy so we can see what they can do. Glowinski will probably be the right guard. And, of course, I want to see what Bredesen does. Who winds up winning that left guard position. That'd be interesting. And it says, on top of that, the Giants added perhaps one of the best centers in the draft with John Michael Schmitz. What else we got? A year ago, several of the Giant key weapons were either injured, traded, or just didn't show up on game day. I guess like Golladay, I guess. Two of those players are expected to return in Sterling Shepard and Wan'Dale Robinson, and they can remain, if they can remain healthy, they could be contributors in the Giants' offense in 2023. Two key contributors from the passing game in 2022 are also back in Isaiah Hodgins and Darius Slayton. Absolutely. Given the fact that Kenny Golladay wasn't a factor during the season and Kadarius Toney was traded at midseason, it was up to those two to be the Giants' 1-2 punch in the passing game. So now, now we're going to have Waller out there. Hopefully, he can stay healthy, and he's going to help big time, big time. All right, let's see here. Why they won't. This is the second one. Well, the injury bug. Now, hopefully one of these years, the injury bug will reverse itself and it will be kind to the New York Giants. Injuries in the NFL is something that teams can never prepare for, but generally always happen. It's unfortunate, but they seem to always happen to every single team. In some years, it seems like the injury bug trends to hit the Giants harder than most teams. Seems like most years it does. Especially when they have had seasons where they have anywhere from 20 to 30 players on the injury list or on injured reserve. Barkley's ACL tear in 2020 put a damper on their season. Oh, yeah, where it took him out of the final 14 games, as did Jones's neck injury for the final 6 games back in 2021. Fortunately for the Giants, both players were healthy and were key contributors to the 2022 team that made the playoffs. Yeah, but then you also get the freakish thing, right? Like the Barkley. He stepped on number 26. He's looking downfield. He's going across the field. He steps on number 26. His ankle, his foot, and he winds up spraining his ankle big time. So the Giants will need both of them healthy, meaning Saquon and Daniel Jones. Yeah, as they will for several of their other key players. So like Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau, Adoree Jackson, Xavier McKinney, Azeez Ojulari, hopefully Deontay Banks, Leonard Williams. So, all right, and then one more here. Why they will. This is the final one. Why they will. All right. The coaching staff. Now, this one here, I got to give him some credit for. I certainly got to give him some credit for here. Now you can look at like with the defensive coordinators like Dan Quinn. Who was it? Was it PFF? PFF graded Dan Quinn, the defensive coordinator for the Cowboys, at number 4 overall. I can't argue with that. Guy's done a phenomenal job. He's always given the Giants a hard time. Giants have always had a hard time trying to score some points and move the ball against the Cowboys. But Wink is number 6. But I do like, our coach, Dable, and I do like our offensive coordinator, Kafka. I like Jerome Henderson, defensive back coach. So I like our coaching staff better than I like McCarthy. I'm not so sold on him with the Cowboys, right? So I do like the Giants coaching staff for sure. We've seen that what good coaching can do to a team. Bill Parcells and Tom Coughlin were part of 2 championship teams, and their leadership abilities were key for those 2 championship teams. Like Nick Sirianni, I'm not really sold on him. I mean, not that he did a very good job last year with the Eagles, not screwing things up. He was given basically the best team in football. They were given a lot of health, and basically he did what he should do. You take a very, very good team as far as you can. He did a great job, but what kind of coach is he? When the chips are down, when your guys are injured, when this happens, where that happens. A lot of it's. I heard some of the Eagle fans around here. Go kind of like one of them's a good friend of mine. I kind of like a little McCarthy's calling plays. Yep, McCarthy's calling plays. Moore's out. Kellen Moore's out. McCarthy's in. Okay. I like Moore. I thought he did a very good job for them. But okay, we'll see. But I mean, some of my friends from around here, and especially like one of my real good ones, and I'm not getting into an argument with nobody or nothing like that. So, but one of my real good friends, he's an Eagle fan, and he was kind of like, yeah, I don't know why Daboll won the Coach of the Year award. I mean, we smacked them around, 3 times last year. They beat them really good twice. So I don't know why Sirianni. I mean, why wasn't he the Coach of the Year? Right? Why they gave it to that guy from was he the Coach of the Year? Is getting the most from the least. When you're handed, here you go. Here's the best team in football, the best offensive line, 2 fantastic wide receivers, very good quarterback. We're going to go 300 deep with the defensive linemen. We're gonna have 300,000 guys coming out of the stands who can rush the quarterback and get 3 million sacks for you. We're gonna want to give you 2 number 1 cornerbacks, right? So when you're given that, and you win, you don't win a Super Bowl, but you win. Well, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. You have a good salary cap, this, that, and the other thing, and all that, right? That's what you're supposed to do. So I mean, okay, he went 14-3. He went to the Super Bowl. That's good. Very, very good. Very impressive. Very, very. Giants didn't do that. Right? But that's what you're kind of supposed to do, win football game. When you're given like nothing, when you have no salary cap, when you're given your number 1 wide receiver is, actually probably maybe your top 2 wide receivers, maybe kind of when you trade one away, the other one sits on the sideline the whole game year drinking Kool-Aid because he's not a good fit for your system or whatever it is. Your other good wide receivers are injured: Wan'Dale Robinson and Sterling Shepard. Darius Slayton, who was like number 7th on the depth chart, right? He comes in and he does well, and bring Isaiah Hodgins off of some practice squad or whatever like that. And he goes in, he's a big contributor. See, that's getting most out of nothing, right? The Giants had a ton of injuries, had all kinds of question marks on the offensive line, this, that, all kinds of stuff. We couldn't even hold on to Bradberry because we couldn't afford him, so we had to just give him away, right? So that's getting the most out of nothing. See, that's what and you take a coach and you take that team, all of that adversity, and you take them to a winning season. You take them to the playoffs. Then they win a playoff game, and they get to the second round of the playoff. That's getting the most out of like nothing. That's a Coach of the Year. So I said, I'm not going to argue. I mean, if that's what you think, that's what you think. But Brian Daboll's a Coach of the Year, getting the most out of nothing. So, all right. Then we had, what the heck is the next one there? Oh. Daniel Jones asking for $47 million, I think it was. He was asking for some money here. So a top 5 quarterback money. But then again, I mean, this is like, what do you expect them to do? I mean, they go high, Giants go low, and what do? You meet in the middle somewhere. So Daniel Jones wants, top 5 quarterback money. The Giants want to give him $30 million or 35, whatever. So you meet somewhere in the middle. Same thing with Saquon. Saquon doesn't want to reset the market, so he's looking at 15 or 16 million a year. The Giants want to give him 12. Probably meet somewhere in the middle. The Giants inked quarterback Daniel Jones to a 4-year, $160 million extension this offseason, a contract many experts have panned as egregious giveaway by the Giants. Jones was actually asking for top 5 money this offseason, as per reports. Once again, that's just as per reports, but ended up settling for a deal that landed him just outside the top 10. But now also you start thinking about when like Herbert resigns a new deal, you're going to have a couple other guys coming up signing new deals, right? Like Burrow. I mean, those guys, so Daniel Jones, he's ranked number 11 right now. So in about a year or so, Daniel Jones is going to be like right around the middle of the pack. 14, 15, somewhere like so. Somewhere, Daniel Jones is going to almost look $40 million. It's almost going to look like a bargain. Let's say from Dan Dugan of The Athletic, I figured the Giants would want to stay under the $40 million per year mark and proposed a 5-year, $185 million contract, $37 million per year. This guy did. But Jones camp drove a harder bargain than anticipated. I expected Jones' asking price to be sky high using the $46 million per year deal signed by Arizona quarterback Kyler Murray last year as a comp, but Jones went even higher, seeking $47 million per report. Once again, if the Giants had given in to Jones's demands, ask of $47 million per year, he would have been the number 5 paid quarterback heading into the season behind Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Aaron Robinson, and Russell Wilson. 47. Instead, Jones comes in at number 11 behind Kyler Murray. So, I mean, if they're giving Kyler Murray 46, you got to feel pretty darn good that Daniel Jones, who puts the time in, who actually studies the film, unlike Kyler Murray, is only getting 40. Behind Deshaun Watson. He didn't look so promising last year. Patrick Mahomes. I really feel bad for him. Really feel bad for him. Hopefully, somewhere along the line, they'll look at his contract, and the Chiefs will look at their trophy case and go, "Wow, we have a Super Bowl. We got Super Bowl 4. That's after the 1969 season when we beat the Minnesota Vikings 23-7. So we got 1 Super Bowl, and now we have 4 other Super Bowls. Wow, they're all due to Patrick Mahomes. Wow, you know what? Why don't we take his contract? Why don't we rip it up?" Throw it in the trash, and why don't we rewrite him a new contract? You know what I mean? Because it's simply amazing how, Patrick Mahomes is the man, the new sheriff in town, without question, right? He's got him a couple Super Bowl trophies, took them to another Super Bowl. If they actually had their offensive line was actually kind of healthy, they might have been able to stay in contention in that Super Bowl there. But but all these other guys are making more money than him. I just really scratch my head. I really, really, really scratch my head. I mean, at what they're making compared to what he's making. Let's see. So Daniel Jones behind Josh Allen. He's behind Matt Stafford. He won a Super Bowl. And then Dak Prescott. So if you look at it, I mean, Daniel Jones's contract, as I said, even if you look, in a year or two from now, Daniel Jones is going to be making, it'll be like right around the middle of the pack, 14th, 15th in salary. So, I mean, if he can keep going on an upward trend, it's hard to say 40 million is a bargain, but 40 million might be a bargain. All right, what do we got? Oh, all right, now here we go. The old Kadarius Toney. This is from Pro Football Network. What do we got here? Winners and losers from the Kansas City Chiefs and the New York Giants trade. It's not unusual for teams to sell high on their first round draft picks when they don't meet expectations. It is a bit unusual to see that player end up playing a crucial role in the Super Bowl win the same year as he was traded, as the New York Giants found out when they traded Kadarius Toney to the Kansas City Chiefs. Given that surprising turnaround in production, it's a little bit more interesting going over the details of the trade for Toney to see who won the trade. Now, I don't think you're ever going to, it's tough to see who won the trade right now. I mean, since Toney was traded, to Kansas City on October 27th, several days ahead of the NFL trade deadline, the Chiefs received Kadarius Toney. The Giants received the 3rd round pick, which wound up being, Darren Waller. And we wound up receiving the 6th round pick overall wound up being Trey Hawkins. So now Trey Hawkins, let's not sleep on him. All right, let's not sleep on him. The guy's got some qualities to him, which he certainly. Let's hope he can make the team, especially special teams, and we'll see maybe if Jerome Henderson can start developing him, and we'll see where he goes from there. You love those late round draft picks. You're always pulling for them, and certainly pulling for Gray, right? Jordan Riley. Let's hopefully he can make the team. But you certainly, especially in the secondary, if you can find a diamond in the rough between Trey Hawkins or Javarius Owens, certainly pulling for those guys without question. Let's see here. Players involved in the trade. The 3 players aside from Toney involved in the trade are receiver Trey Tucker, now who's a member of the Raiders, because the Giants traded their 3rd round pick to the Raiders, and I think that's who the Raiders wound up picking was Trey Tucker, and the Giants got Trey Hawkins and Waller. Who won the Kadarius Toney trade? It says What we got? For all that Toney did in the Super Bowl, the record for the longest Super Bowl punt return. But, you also look at it, too. Yeah, it's kind of a kick in the pants that he did it. But you know what? I also look at it. I give the guy a high five because it helped bring down the Eagles. I couldn't live with myself if I had to listen to the Eagle fans around here hooting and hollering and all that about winning the Super Bowl. So he did me a favor. Let's see. He also scored a touchdown on offense with his 5-yard touchdown reception. His 65-yard punt return in the fourth quarter also set up a touchdown by Sky Moore. It's tough to say if that's worth a third-round pick and change, especially because Toney only provided the Chiefs with 171 receiving yards or 24.4 yards per game. He also provided some rushing production and replacement-level punt return capability. That is, of course, until the Super Bowl, where his special teams contributions were phenomenal. Yes, they were. That said, Toney was one of the most efficient receivers in the NFL when he was actually on the field, earning 2.15 yards per route run. That's ahead of Keenan Allen, Jamar Chase, DK Metcalf, and Tyler Lockett. The issue seems to be, which is a good point here, the issue seems to be that when Toney's on the field, the ball is almost certainly headed his way. Like I remember back when we drafted Ron Dane, okay? We had Thunder and Lightning back in 2000. Tiki Barber was on the field most of the time. Then Ron Dane, it was very rarely. I remember having them both on the field at the same time. Either Tiki Barber was on the field, Tiki would go off the field, Ron Dane would come in. Now the thing was, when Ron Dane came in the game, it was just like, okay, the next play is a run play to Ron Dane. It was just like he's on the field for a reason. We're going to run the ball to Ron Dane, and I can't say certainly the next play was always a run, but that's the feeling I get. Whenever Ron Dane came into the game, he's in the backfield. It's like, yeah, we're running the ball with Ron Dane. That's just the way it felt. That's the way it kind of felt, especially when the Giants last season in the beginning, very early on, when Kadarius Toney was actually healthy enough to play. Anytime he was on the field, it's like, Kadarius Toney's on the field. This must be a play for him, right? Let's see here. So the issue seems to be that when Toney's on the field, the ball is almost certainly headed his way. He earned more targets per route than Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, and A.J. Brown, ranking 7th among all receivers with at least 100 routes. That sounds like a good thing. No, it's not. But the high target rate yet low overall usage rate suggests his touches were manufactured, which does not scale. Which is not good. Toney will need to be more than that if he's going to be any value to the franchise. Absolutely. The Chiefs drafted Rasheed Rice in the second round of this past draft, so it's not as if they have complete faith that Toney can scale up his production and take over a starter's role. It's entirely possible that he plays fourth fiddle to Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Moore, and Rice. He could even play behind Richie James, right? Who was the Giants' tied for leading receiver last season. Now, wouldn't that be a kick in the pants, right? Richie James comes in, off the streets, and he winds up getting more playing time, more receptions than Toney, right? So it's difficult to tell if the Chiefs are winners of the trade. A lot of it's going to have to do with injuries. I could certainly see Toney having a nice season. Especially with, you got the $1 million mindset right there. You got Andy Reid, the guy's a magician. 5 years after he's retired, they should be carving the dude's bust out in Canton right now as we speak. Toney wasn't a fitter. And also the thing is, you don't want to burn bridges, And he burnt one. It's tough to burn 31 bridges or 32 bridges in football, but he burnt one of them. I don't think there's any way in HE-double-L hockey sticks that he's ever going to come back to New York. Especially if Shane or Dable ever saw that part where he's giving the middle finger. This is the New York right here. Guy's got some growing up to do. One thing is that, we got ourselves a man, Darren Waller. He had some demons in the past. Let's hopefully he never goes back there. Let's hope he's on the straight and narrow from now on. I don't wish that of nobody at all. But, we got ourselves a grown man, somebody whose heart's in the game, Mind seems to be in the game. Mind seems to be on the right path. Toney's got some growing up to do. Now, whether he can do it certainly doesn't mean he can't. But, I mean, given the middle finger and all of that to, that's rather childish. He's got some growing up to do. So, but I think a lot of it's going to have to depend upon, can we get a couple seasons out of Waller being somewhat healthy? Does Toney stay out of trouble? Can he stay healthy? So, I mean, as far as who won the trade, who knows? I mean, that you won't ever find that out can figure that out if you even want to figure it out in a couple of years from now. But I think a lot of it has to do with also injuries too. I mean, like if Waller's injured half the games here, if Kadarius Toney if he winds up pulling hamstrings left and right, and he never winds up going back on the field there, it's so I think a lot is going to have to do with injuries. But all you look at it, right? He's a flake. He needs to have somebody latch on to him, or he needs to latch on to somebody, a pro's pro. And if he steps out of line, we start seeing these middle fingers to, this is for New York, giving the middle finger and all that. That's when the guy who latches onto him walks up, just smacks him around. Dude, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Really smack him around. But, I think a lot of it's got to do with, the injuries and all that and everything. I mean, you look at it right now. I mean, you look at Kadarius Toney without question. The guy is he's hard to cover. I mean, if he can stay healthy and all that stuff, he's a phenomenal athlete. He has phenomenal gifts, and you've seen some times on the field these people trying to cover him. It's almost darn near impossible. You saw that punt return in the Super Bowl, but then again, you look at Waller. Waller's a mismatch. I mean, we got ourselves a fine player right there. I think the biggest thing is going to be is health. So who won the trade right now? Who knows? All I know is Kansas City has themselves a phenomenal athlete who can do really some nice things on the football field. We have ourselves a phenomenal athlete who can do some really good things on the football field too. So, right. All I know is, Kadarius Toney, he was a flake. He didn't deserve, but he did also help us. Help the Chiefs beat the Eagles too. So I'll always appreciate him for that. Waller and Bellinger. Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm done because I mean that's a nice thing. I mean they both can help each other. You know what I mean? Because Bellinger obviously can be in there for the block, but if you got Waller, creating, space underneath, like if Waller, they take him deep or a deeper pattern, cross pattern or something like that, might make things a little softer underneath for Bellinger, right? But Waller can make it better for everybody. Just send him out. And the nice thing about him is if he's not so much in there, maybe to block, right? If you put him in the slot. Put, whatever, Slayton, Hodgins or whatever out wide or Hyatt or whatever, bring them out. But put Waller in a slot, have Bellinger in line. So now you got Waller, so once that LeBron James dude just starts freaking taking off down the field, the defensive back's like, oh, whoa, then what do you got? You got Saquon behind you. Maybe hand the ball off to Saquon. So now you got the defensive backs backing up a little bit, right? So you don't have 312 guys in the box like the Seahawks did, and the Lions did a pretty good job of shutting them down. So you got these guys, you got Hyatt just taking off. You got Waller. You got this LeBron James running down the field. You got somebody else on the other side. So everybody's back on roller skates. Then you hand the ball off to Saquon. Now you only got maybe 6 guys in the box or so to worry about. So. Guys, everybody helps everybody, So, that's, should be exciting. Should be exciting. Yeah, 12 personnel, yeah. I just hope we beat if we can beat the Cowboys once and we can beat the Eagles once this year, that would be so nice. That would be so nice. My son likes the Cowboys, and I'm sick and tired of listening to them. Every year they beat the Giants 2 times. Oh, my God, I'm sick and tired of it. And then what was it? Finally. Oh, yeah. Yeah. The Giants led the NFL in roughing the passer penalties in 2022. How about that one? I think it was the playoff game against Minnesota. Come on. Are you kidding me? Really. When Dexter Lawrence. Now, he did, when he went in, he did kind of hit. Now, I don't know if that's what they threw the flag for. but he was going in to get, I don't know, and he hit Cousins. It's like side of his helmet a little bit. So is that what they called it for? But I mean, if they called it for taking him and like kind of throwing him he didn't even land on him or not, like I throw a flag on. Oh my God. Dable was going ballistic on the sideline when they threw that flag, that roughing the passer. I mean, we had a couple really kind of bogus roughing the passer penalties last year called on us. So the Giants finished 9-7-1. This is from who? Who is this here? This is Giants Wire. Who wrote the article? John Finelli, maybe? Is that who it is? Yeah, John Finelli looks like. Giants finished 9-7-1 regular season, their first winning season since 2016, and things appear to be looking up as they enter year 2 of the Shane Dable era. Much of that has to do with the structure of discipline the new coaching staff has brought to East Rutherford. Joe Gibbs of Sharp Football Analysis breaks down how penalties affected Big Blue in 2022. The good was how the offense didn't shoot itself in the foot, ranking 31st in holding penalties and 22nd in false starts. That was the one thing that they could not shoot themselves in the foot. They couldn't have Daniel Jones slinging that ball all over the field. You know, maybe we'd get 5 more touchdown passes. You get up to 20 touchdowns, but now he's got 13 interceptions, right? We couldn't do that because that would be shooting yourself in the foot, right? You had to control the ball, control the game, try to scheme guys open, whether it was 6-7 yard routes or whatever it was that, hopefully maybe yak it a couple more yards, maybe get a first down, keep the clock running, right? You keep the ball, control passes, keep the passes short and, out of harm's way. Couldn't shoot yourself and can't have those penalties. Can't get those 1st and 20 situations. You couldn't do that for the Giants to win the football that game. They could not do that. And they did a very good job of avoiding that stuff last year. Let's see. You can credit Dable and offensive line Bobby Johnson for shaking up this unit, which should continue to improve. Yes, it should. Absolutely. The second season, a lot of the same guys in the same system. Absolutely. They should improve without question. The bad, unfortunately, was on defense, where coordinator Wink Martindale's philosophy of having guys fly around in his blitz-heavy scheme led to some discipline issues. Yeah, no. I mean, because some of those penalties were just absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Defense ranked 2nd overall in per game passing play penalties, averaging 10.1 yards per infraction, unfortunately, which is basically every infraction basically was a first down. The Giants' 2022 averages in this category were very similar to the Ravens in 2020 and 2021. Well, but that's the thing. You send pressure. Yeah, things happen. Unfortunately, good things happen and bad things happen. Now, of course, because you send in the pressure, that leaves a lot of guys on their own island back there. So for some of these guys to survive on their own island back there, they got to maybe do some little touchy, grabby, feely kind of thing, kind of going on, a little maybe, get their arm around the guy to prevent him from running past them or whatever they got to do, So, I mean, unfortunately, that's what wound up happening. But the defense kept the Giants in some games, though, too. So. The common denominator here is Wink Martindale, who was the defensive coordinator for those teams. Well, he can be my coordinator anytime. So these penalties may simply be part of his defensive approach. Whatever the reason, is a lot of penalties to concede. The Giants were above average being penalized for defensive holding and illegal contact penalties. I mean, well, a lot of that has to do with when you're man coverage, do you got the horses to keep being man coverage? If you don't, you're going to have to do things to skew things in your favor so the guy doesn't burn you for an 80-yard touchdown. So, unfortunately, that includes some penalties. Roughing the passer is another category in the passing penalty metric. The Giants led the NFL in this category and had the largest discrepancy of any team last season with a -7 net loss in just this one category. We're really highlighting it out of the 4 categories because it really comes down to playing smart football. But I mean, which is absolutely true. Absolutely true. Smart football. But also, I said some of those penalties were just can't sneeze on a quarterback nowadays. Schmitz shit up. Oh yeah, definitely. I'm very anxious to see him. Now, that's going to be one of those fun things to check out. I mean, not that you're going to have a lot of video footage from training camp or nothing, but, day one, or whatever they're out there, Schmitz is hiking the ball. Sexy Dexy's right in front of him. Class is in session. So, but I mean, that's what you want. You want, you got a good, solid, hopefully stud for the Giants for many years to come. Finally, first time in 300,000 years, the Giants actually have themselves drafted a center early, right? And hopefully he'll be with the Giants for quite some time. And, we had O'Hara, but we didn't draft him. But, I mean, even if you want to, I'm saying, O'Hara came from the Cleveland Browns. He was an undrafted free agent. He was with the Browns for a couple of years. Then we wound up getting him. But, I mean, that's like 20 years ago, But, I mean, we're really high on this center. So it's been a while. We drafted a center. It was a Brian Williams in 1989. That back then we had Brian Williams. We also had Bart Oates too. So you're going back over 30 years since we had, somebody drafted really high as a center. That you're really maybe excited about. So I mean, but he's got to have Leonard Williams there. He's got to have, especially in the run game, right? Robinson, Nunez Roches, Leonard Williams, Sexy Dexy. That's a nice force. I mean, he's going to learn. He's going to learn a lot about that, which is going to help him going up against like the Eagles. I was glad no Tippmann, bad footwork. Oh yeah, bad. Yeah. See, I'm not up to date on a lot of that stuff because I don't want to. You only got so much time in the day, and I just try to. There's certain things I focus on a lot, and it's like what guys do well, and what guys don't do well. Some of them, like what you were saying, maybe Tippmann has bad footwork. Yeah, but I mean, one thing you can say, and a lot of people say that Schmitz was probably the best overall, maybe center ready, in the draft. So very, very excited to see him, and hopefully he'll be our guy for a while. And I said, it's all process, right? I mean, we got Evan Neal, we got Andrew Thomas, we got Schmitz. Now, quite possibly, hopefully we got 3 out of the 5. We might have a Zudu, right? Maybe we keep Bredesen around as a guard. Who knows? Maybe we have 4 out of the 5 pieces to the offensive line. We have Bellinger. We don't know how long we'll have Waller for, but the front's coming along very, very well. So we have our quarterback. We got Eric Ray. We got Saquon. So we just need maybe a couple more pieces of the puzzle on offense. Maybe, right? Maybe we might need one more guard, right? Do we get a number 1 wide receiver maybe next year? We'll have to wait and see. But we're adding pieces. We're not too far. We're not too far. And I'm not saying I don't think we caught the Eagles yet, but we're not too far. Oh yeah, Wicks got a little Buddy Ryan. Yeah. Oh yeah, Buddy Ryan. Yeah, I remember him. He was a heck of a defensive coordinator. Actually, he was the defensive coordinator for the New York Jets. Buddy Ryan in Super Bowl III when they won their Super Bowl. The Jets had a really good defense that year, and they did a very good job at shutting down the Colts in that Super Bowl III. But Buddy Ryan was their defensive coordinator back then. So Buddy Ryan's But I mean, Buddy likes pressure. He likes hitting. He likes pain. Oh yeah. Yep, on the Weeb Eubank. Yep. Oh yeah. And the Weeb Eubank's the only one in history of football to say you can't say in the NFL, but just in the history of football, he won 2 championships with the Colts. In the NFL, they beat the Giants in 58, 23-17. Then they beat the Giants 31-16 and 59. So he won 2 championships in the NFL. And then Eubank won the AFL championship in 1968 with the Jets. They beat the Oakland Raiders 27-23 in the AFL championship game. So he's the only coach in the history of football to win a championship in the NFL and the AFL. And he will be the only coach in the history of football because there's no coaches. I don't even know if there's any of them still alive who were coaching in the AFL back in the 60s. So we knew his stuff. I mean, he was a good coach. And the nice thing about Weeb, he was a nice guy. He was a really, really nice guy. Overall, phenomenal. He was, really, really good human being. A very, very good coach. Hank Stram was the best in the. Well, yeah. I mean, the Chiefs they won. They won more games than in the history of the AFL than any other team did. The Dallas Texans / Kansas City Chiefs, because I think he was their only coach. I think he said something along the lines like when he first took over for the Dallas Texans in 1960. I think they were the Texans for 60, 61, and 62, and I think 63 they turned into the Chiefs, I think it was. But he when he walked into camp in the 1960, I think it was, he said to his players, I said something along the lines like, gentlemen, I don't know how long this league is going to last or something along those lines. But he said, I can tell you one thing. He said, we will win more games in this league than any other team. And he was right. The Texans / Chiefs won more games in those 10 seasons from 60 to 69 than any other team did. And they went to more Super Bowls than any other team, because the Chiefs went to the first Super Bowl, the Raiders went to the second Super Bowl, the Jets went to the third, and then the Chiefs went back to the fourth Super Bowl. And then when the fifth Super Bowl rolled around, that's when they had the merger, so there was no more AFL. So the Chiefs went to 2 out of the 4 Super Bowls when it was just the AFL and the NFL, and he won one of them. He won the fourth Super Bowl 23-7. So yeah, he was a very good coach. Except that when he came, his teams, the Chiefs, started getting a little older. They only made the play. They won the Super Bowl in 1969 after the 69 season. 1970, they didn't make the playoffs. 71, they made the playoffs, and that was the final time that the Chiefs made the playoffs till like the 80s. So they were getting old. And actually, the Chiefs did not win a playoff game in the 70s at all. They went to one playoff game, and they lost to the Miami Dolphins on Christmas Day, December 1971. I remember watching that game. It was the longest game in football history. It went 6 quarters. The Dolphins won 27-24. I remember watching that game. It was Christmas Day. We had Christmas at my house. I remember sitting down watching the game, and it was like the fourth quarter or something like that, whatever it was. We went out to have dinner. We had dessert. I was over, excuse me. I came back out. I sat back down, and the game was still on. I'm like, what the hell's going on? It was crazy. But after the Chiefs won the Super Bowl after the 69 season, they did not win a playoff game in the 70s. And then Hank Stram, he coached the Saints for a couple of years, and he didn't do very good there. Actually, he gave the Buccaneers their first win in 1977. He was the coach of the Saints. The Buccaneers, who were 0-26 at the time, went into New Orleans and beat the Saints for Bucks' first ever win. So I think that was Hank Stram's final season coaching in the NFL. It was 1977, because the Saints were not very good. Gilman. Oh yeah, Gilman. Yeah, he was underrated over there too. Oh yes. Oh, they had some great minds. Absolutely. Oh yeah. Levy and Moore in the USFL. Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Well, I mean, that's what, thank for the USFL. USFL. We got a couple of the coaches, but I mean also some great players came from there as well too. I mean, a lot of great players came. The Giants got Bart Oates, right? I mean, that was the one gift that the big gift that the Giants got. I mean, he was our center. He was actually, Bart Oates was the only player that the Giants on the offensive line they had who played in both Super Bowls, Super Bowl 21 and 25. The Giants, all the other 4 positions were different players. So Bart Oates was in 1986. Actually, Bart Oates was there from 86 to, I think it was 90. Well, no, I'm sorry, 85. Maybe he was there, 85 or 86. He was there till 93. So, and then actually, and then Bart Oates left the Giants and he played with 49ers. And in 1994, when the 49ers won the Super Bowl, so Bart Oates got 3 Super Bowl rings. Good for him. But we got Bart Oates from the USFL. A lot of, a a lot of good players came. I mean, Herschel Walker, Jim Kelly, it's a lot of guys, Reggie White. I mean, a ton of guys. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, Reggie White. And one thing I remember Phil Simms was always talking about. He said, I mean, I hated playing in Philadelphia, because it was the vet that it was like playing on concrete. It was artificial turf. It was like playing on concrete because he's like, because he was going up against Jerome Brown, Reggie White, Clyde Simmons. I mean, they had some guys that can rush the passer, but they had some mean guys on it. But Buddy Ryan was the coach there in the late 80s anyway, right? But he's like, I always hated playing in Philadelphia because it was like, you were going to be in some pain because you knew you were hitting the ground. I mean, they would, Reggie White wouldn't do anything cheap or nothing like that, but, he was coming after you, and he was going to put you on your butt. And, it was like landing on concrete. So Phil Simms, I hated playing there. I would too. I mean, it looked like they had like a green carpeting, like they had concrete. And they just rolled some green carpeting down on top of the concrete. I mean, it was just, who would want to play on that? Not me. Tough place to watch a game. Yeah, especially if you're a fan of the other team. I mean, you got to keep your mouth shut. You go there, you're just asking for, trouble. It doesn't matter if the Eagles win or lose or whatever. Like, hey, if you start going in there and you start yapping your mouth, I mean, the Eagle fans love nothing better than pick a fight. Absolutely nothing better. That's why I hated going there. It was always, I just hated going there. Big Blue Tours. Was that a something you take to watch the Giant games? They would take you to the stadiums. I never heard of that. Yeah, okay. And I never heard of that. Where would they pick you up at by the Giant Stadium? I mean, because I'm sure all their teams have their own places and everything. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I guess you took that multiple times or just once or what? Because, I mean, that wouldn't be too bad of a ride. Go from Giant Stadium down to Philly, right? Watch the game, get back on the bus. That way you don't have to worry about driving. You don't have to worry about parking. You don't have to worry nothing. You just sit there, relax, enjoy yourself, hopefully enjoy the game, So, I mean, that sounds like a pretty good idea. A few times Philly. Oh, Washington. Yeah, that's perfect too. I mean, I guess maybe even Baltimore too. I mean, they had something down there. I mean, you go right down 95. Yeah, Washington, Baltimore. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. What I do nowadays is me and my son, we go to one game a year. See, he's a Cowboy fan. So we go to Cowboy games. So this year we're trying to go to the Miami game, which is Christmas Eve in Miami. So we're going to try to go to that one. So that way I go and I just sit down, I relax, and I enjoy the game. Every time we've gone to a Cowboy game, it's always been close. Last year we went to Green Bay and it wound up going to overtime. The Green Bay won 31-28 in overtime. So that was a good game. Every time we go to a Cowboy game, it's always close and tight. It's always, so I go back there, I sit back there, I relax, I enjoy a good football game. It's always a pretty good contest all the time. It's always exciting. But if the Cowboys win, okay. If the Cowboys lose, I mean, I try. I don't jump up and down, not in front of my son because he's a Cowboy fan, So, but I mean, I just go back and relax, and I don't get too high, I don't get too upset, I don't get too low. I just go there and enjoy the game. So that's what we're going to do this year. Plus, it's like his birthday present each year. So this year we're trying to see all the stadiums. So this year we're going to try to see Miami. So RFK was no picnic. Yeah, RFK. Yeah, we went to when that was. We went to the new stadium, the new Washington Stadium. I was never at RFK though. My dad was a Jet fan. Uncle's a Skins. Oh yeah, Uncle's a Skins fan. Ooh, wow. Well, see, my dad growing up, he was a Giant fan, but then the Jets came around. He was a Jet fan as well too. I guess he also had no because like after 1963, from 64 and throughout the 70s, the Giants were never very good. So my dad liked the Jets and the Giants. You know, I hate both teams. Oh. Yeah. I remember watching Joe Namath, you know, back in the early 70s. But the Jets weren't very good back then. In 72, they were 7-7. 72, they weren't too bad. They were 7-7. But other than that, they were usually pretty bad. Namath was over. Oh, yeah. Well, he had that one good game. He guaranteed a win. They won. He didn't even throw a touchdown pass. He was the MVP of the game. I don't know why, but he was very overrated. Oh, yeah. I mean, he threw more interceptions than touchdown passes. I mean, a lot of it because he had bad knees. I mean, that did not help him with throwing the ball. But, you know, he was throwing it no matter what. And Margaret wasn't. Yeah. He was throwing those balls no matter what. I mean, I remember some games he threw like 6 interceptions in a game and he just kept throwing them. You know, he did have he did throw a nice deep pass though. He had a, you know, but if you look at his statistics, you know, I mean, it's hard for him to be, I mean, losing record, you know, more interceptions, a lot more interceptions and touchdowns. He had that one game, you know, I mean, if they never won Super Bowl III, would he be a Hall of Famer? Probably not. Be hard to put him in the Hall of Fame if he didn't win that Super Bowl. You know, I mean, he had had all the girls hanging all over him. You know, he had the looks. He was a handsome guy and all that and everything. But hard time to put him in the Hall of Fame if he didn't win Super Bowl III. You know, I mean, but that also helped. You know, that helped football. You know, because I mean, at the time, you know, the AFL was the underdog. The inferior league, you know, and they needed something. They needed a little shot in the arm, and that's what the Jets gave them, that Super Bowl III. They scored one rushing touchdown. I think it was Matt Snell scored the one rushing touchdown, and they were up 16-0. And John Unitas came in off the bench for Earl Morrall in the fourth quarter, and he led the Colts down to one touchdown to make it 16-7. But you know, but the AFL needed something, and Joe Namath, you know. And the Jets gave the AFL some credibility. And then in Super Bowl IV, the Chiefs gave the AFL some more credibility when they kicked the crap out of the Vikings 23-7. Yeah. He's cool, but overrated as a guy. He seems like a real cool guy. He seems like a real nice guy, you know, without question. I know he had a drinking problem. One time, Susie Colbert, I think that's her name. She was interviewing him. And he was all drunk. It was a Sunday night game or a Monday night game or something like that. And he was like kind of like, I don't know, he's drunk. And he's like, I just want to kiss you. So I just want to kiss you on the lips or something like that. He was saying. I mean, that's pretty bad. That's pretty embarrassing. All right. Well, it's been, wow. Hey, Jersey guys, this is a record. 1 hour and almost 13 minutes. Me just shoot my mouth off. Well, buddy, it's been nice. Good talking to you. I'll be tomorrow. I won't be back tomorrow. I'll be back again Sunday. We'll do this all again on Sunday. Sunday. Hey, good talking to you, pal. So whoever spent any time at all watching me, set a record here for 1 hour and 13 minutes. Thank you. If anybody spends any time watching and replay this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. Thank you. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.